Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to discuss on a very important and interesting topic, which is performance fee. In my prior videos I have covered the expenses, and in the funds we can see two types of expenses. One is fixed expense and a variable expense. Also in my last video I have covered the very important variable expense, which is the management fee. Today, for incremental of that, I will be covering the performance fee. Typically, we see performance fee in hedge funds. Now, there is something very interesting in performance fee which makes it different from other expenses we generally see into the fund. So, in your fund, if you have any fixed expense, be it legal fee or audit fee, or if you have any variable fees like custody fee or admin fee or management fee, definitely it will be charged to your fund. So, you have to accrue it, and on a interval, it will be paid to the respective people. Whereas when we talk about performance fee is not always like it will be charged to the fund. So it depends on the investment manager how the performance of the fund is. There will be certain criterias. If the fund is achieving those criterias or going beyond those, then only the performance fee will be charged. And in my experience, also in my career, I have seen it is always a gray area about how the performance fee is calculated, and most of the time we come across issues. Most of the time we come across all the errors mostly related to performance fee. So to avoid those things, it is important that you understand what are the performance fees, how the criterias are defined in performance fee. Also, if I talk about the interview point of view, the performance fee is one of the interesting or the lovable topic for any interviewer when it comes to ask about performance fee. So first, before we go ahead, we need to understand what is performance fee or what are the key points to remember when it comes to performance fee. So, as I said, performance fee we typically see in hedge funds. It is also known as a incentive fee. So, it is kind of like a bonus. It is an additional fee charged to the investor by the IM for the positive return into the fund. And as I also previously said, performance fee is calculated based on the multiple factors. So, why it is called a incentive fee? So, as we all know, performance fee will be, who will get the performance fee? The investment manager will get the performance fee, but we already charge management fee into the fund. So how management fee and performance fee is different? Now, if I take a simpler example of any corporate executive or for any person who is working, so there will be a monthly salary which will be predefined. So you will be getting that monthly salary, which is 100%. You will be getting it. Again, there will be another incentive component, which is a bonus. That bonus component comes based on how the employee is performing throughout the year. There will be a percentage, if and there will be certain criterias defined. If the employee is exceeding those expectations, then they will be getting that much of the bonus. If they are just matching those expectations, then they will be getting a certain amount of bonus. Similarly, it comes into the investment manager case. So investment manager will get the management fee, which is irrespective of the performance of the fund they will be getting. But performance fee is something like an incentive. So in case the fund perform well, or fund perform or cross certain threshold, then only performance fee will be given to the investment manager. And as it is a hedge funds, and as we know, hedge funds will be always on a very, the AUM will be very big. So on that, even performance fees also will be typically 20% or 17%. So on those cases, 17% of those AUM is also quite high. So that's why the criterias are also very strict in terms when it comes to performance fee. There are two main uh, components to the performance fee. So first component is hurdle rate and second component is high water mark. Now let's try to understand what is hurdle rate. So first of all, I will tell you that hurdle rate and high water mark in a fund, either you can have a hurdle rate or you can have a high water mark, or you can have both. When it comes to calculate performance fee, it will be clearly mentioned in your document that how the performance fee will be calculated. When it comes to hurdle rate, it is represent the minimum level of return that a fund must achieve before it is eligible for a performance fee. So in case I have to say that the fund's hurdle rate is 5% of the AUM, that means the fund might get some profit, but that profit need to achieve the 5% of the AUM of the fund, then only it will be eligible for a performance fee. Next point comes is the high water mark. So we will try to understand what is high water mark as well. High water mark concept is introduced into the hedge fund so that the incentive fees is not paid on the profit that is not profit, it is the offsetting the loss of the prior year. That can also happen. Suppose year 1 was good, year 2 was bad, and year 3 was again good, but year 3 when it is good, it is actually offsetting the bad what you had or the losses what you have incurred in year 2. So I will explain more with a graph about how high water mark works. So this is a threshold that determines whether the fund manager can gain the performance fee. And second point is investor benefit from the high water mark by avoid paying performance based bonus for the poor or the same performance. So if you understand from all these points, performance fees, these criterias, the hurdle rate and the high water mark is actually created for the benefit of the investor. As I said, hedge fund is generally having a very high AUM. If we don't restrict the performance fee here, the profit area or the bonus area will vary a lot from year to year. If certain criteria is not kept, then it will be not fair on an investor because they will end up paying more each and every year. Now first I will explain you how the high water mark work, how it is charged year on year basis. If we try to understand high water mark with this graph, let's take the x-axis as a time with the year, and let's take y-axis as a AUM. I have approximately put some like it is a 30 million dollar to 100 million dollar. Let's assume the fund has started on the first, it started with 40 million dollar as AUM, and on the year 1 it reached to 60 million dollar. For year 1, then this 60 million dollar will become the high water mark for the fund. Initially, it started with 40 million. So $40 million was high water mark. Then, as on the year 1, it reached to 60 million. This is its now new benchmark. So now, for the fund to gain performance fee, the fund total AUM have to cross 60 million. Let's suppose on the second year, the fund has dropped and it has reached to 50 million. So it has dropped it. So obviously, if we see in the second year, again it grown, but it is still not reached. It is below the high water mark. So on the second year, it will not get any performance fee. Now, we can assume that after little bit of drop in the when it was going from second year to third year it made a good profit and it reached to, from 60 million it reached to 80 million. If you see on the year 1, it has reached 60 million dollar as a high water mark. On the year 2, it has dropped. Although from the fund where it is started from $40 million, it has achieved to 50 million, but still it has not crossed $60 million with what its high water mark at the beginning. Hence, on the year 2, it will not be eligible for performance fee. On the year 3, it has reached to 80 million. and it has reached 80 million. So from 60 million to 80 million, for this particular part, it will be eligible for the performance bonus, not for the total amount. Even from the last year, if I see from year 2 to year 3, year 2 it was reached to 50, from there it has achieved to 80, but the performance fee will be calculated based on what your last time best. So this was the last time best, so now it will get performance fee for this, and then 80 million will become your next high water mark. Now the fund has to achieve more than $80 million as an AUM to get the next performance fee, because it is creating that as a benchmark now. Let's say on the year 4 again it is dropped a little, it moved to 70 or 75, but it was not able to cross 80 million. It was there but not cross that level. It was almost same. So if it stays same, then also it will not get the performance fee. Again, let's say on the year 5, it moved to $100 million. If it was able to achieve on the year 5, then on year 5, it will get the performance fee from 80 to 100 million only for that much amount. And then this 100 million will become its new high water mark. So it is very easy to understand, whichever is your highest AUM till date, not from the prior year, till date, that become your new high water mark. And when the performance fee will be calculated, that is based on your last high water mark minus your current high water mark, not based on what you have done before. Even if you would have done very good from last year to current year, it will take till date whichever is your high, and based on that the performance fee will be calculated. Now let us take one example of a fund, and I will try to give a flavor of the hurdle rate and high water mark both to understand, and you all also can do the calculation along with me. That will help you to understand how the performance fee is calculated. Let's take an example of a fund. Let's say it is a XYZ fund which starting on the 1st January with a AUM of 100 million. It has a performance fee period of 12 months. That means after 12 months only, performance fee will be paid. I will get back to this point about when the performance fee is paid and how it is important, this performance fee period, at the end of this video. Next point is, let's say the fee structure is 2 is to 20. That means 2% will be the management fee and 20% will be the performance fee. Now let's go year on year how the fund is doing. Let's take for the year 1. On the year 1, let's assume the fund has made a profit of 30 million. So then my AUM at the beginning was 100 million. At the end, it become 130 million. I have to pay I have to pay first management fee, which is mandatory where there is no option. So let's calculate the management fee for it. It will be straight away 100 million into 2%. So it will be, and also let's assume the management fee is on the AUM at the beginning of the year. So it will be 2 million. One point I forgot to mention here, other than the free structure, there is also one point is there, which is the hurdle rate. Let's take the hurdle rate is 6% of AUM, initial AUM. So now if I was doing the calculation right, so my profit is 30 million, I have to pay 2 million as my management fee. So after paying all the charges, I will be arriving at my GAV. GAV is nothing but my gross asset value. GAF and NAV difference comes only for this performance fees mostly. When you are calculating performance fee, it will be the last activity to perform in your fund. You will be calculating everything, you will be deducting all the expenses from your fund, and you will be arriving at the AUM. So here, after calculating everything, I had made the profits of 130 million, and then I will be deducting my management fee, because here I am taking a simpler version of it. So 128 million is my GAV. Now I have to calculate performance fee on my fund. First, I need to see whether my fund is eligible for the performance fee or not. How it is going to be? 30 million is my profit minus 2, as I'm taking only management fee as an expense as of now. So 2 million I will deduct, and then there will be 6% of the hurdle rate. So I need to see whether this value is greater or less than this value. So here it is 28 and this is coming 6. So obviously this is lesser than my hurdle rate, is lesser than my profit after all the deductions. So I will be having a performance fee which I have to pay, which will be 4.4 million. So what will become my NAV? Now my NAV will become 128 minus 4.4 million. So NAV is, if you see, the difference between GAV and NAV is only to the extent of performance fee. And my next year, year 2, it will start with 123.6 million. So now if you see what is my high water mark, here my high water mark will become, last year it has started at 100 million, and then before performance fee it is reached to 128 million, right? So 128 million is becoming my high water mark now, and I have a hurdle rate of 6% of the AUM. So now let's take the year 2. Year 2, I am starting with the AUM of, as I have already paid the performance fee on the year 1, I will be starting it with 123.6 million. And let's assume this year I have made a profit of 8 million. So how much will be after profit, how much my AUM is becoming? It is becoming 131.6 million. Now let's assume what was the management fee. Let's calculate what was the management fee. So it will be obviously 2% of your initial AUM. So it is becoming 2.47 million. Then your GAV is 131 minus your 2.47, which is your management fee. It is 129.13 approximately. Now we have to see how much is my performance fee and whether I will be eligible for my performance fee or not. I had a profit of 8 million. Then I have to take out the 2.47 million of my management fee. And let's see, I have a hurdle rate also, right, which is 6% into my initial AUM. So if I see here, this is coming as 5.528. However, my hurdle rate is becoming 7.42. So if you see, after I exclude the management fee and everything, my net profit for this fund for the year 2 is 5.5 million. However, my hurdle rate is 7.42 million. So 6% of the AUM, which is 7.42 million. So even if you see from the high water mark perspective, I have crossed the high water mark, because my year has started with 123 million and I have reached to 129 million, but it is not crossing my hurdle rate. So the fund won't be eligible for the performance fee. So my GAV for this year, my GAV will be equivalent to my NAV, and it will become same, 129.13 million dollars only. So this is for the year 1 and year 2. Next we will go for year 3. I will start my year 3 with the AUM of 129.13 million. For this year, let's assume the profit is 5 million. Then how much it is becoming altogether? 134.13 million. Now let's calculate the management fee. It will be 2% of 129.13, which will come approximately 2.52 million. Just to make go into the main calculation, I am not showing each and every step. You can do that also. 2% of 129.13 million, which give you 2.58 million, which is your management fee. Now what will be my hurdle rate? It is 6% of AUM. So my hurdle is becoming 7.7478 approximately, that much, to achieve the performance fee. As you can see, I have a 5 million of profit. So 5 million minus the management fee is 2.4174. So obviously that is lesser than my hurdle. Hence, I won't be eligible for performance fee for this year as well. So what my NAV will be? It will be same as my GAV. Again, for this year, I don't have anything extra to pay. So I have 134 minus my management fee, which is 2.58. It will come to 131.55. So that becomes my new high water mark. Now let's take for the year 4. This example might sound you very lengthy, but actually this is how the performance fee calculation happen on a year on basis, or on a day to day basis. That's why I have taken little bit elaborated example to make you understand how the performance fee will be, you will be getting or not. So in that perspective, so let's take for the next year, which is the year 4. I will be starting my year with 131.55 million, and let's assume it was a very good year compared to last 2 year, and the fund was able to make approximately 11 million of profit. So it will become 142.55. Now let's again do the same calculation, the management fee. For this year, the management fee is 2% of the AUM, which is 2.63 million, and the hurdle rate is 7.89 million. And if I also see, my high water mark is also 131.55 million dollars. This year, I have made a profit of 11 million. From there, I have to deduct my management fee. After deducting my management fee, but still here I can understand this part is greater than my hurdle rate. So this year I have to take out my hurdle rate also. When you will be achieving on the hurdle rate, on top of that, whatever is the remaining, based on that only you will be getting your performance fee. So my profit minus the management fee, or whatever fees you have, minus your hurdle rate, whatever is remaining is 0.479. So on that I have to calculate my performance fee, which is 20%. 20% of 0.479 million, which is coming to 0.0958 million. So now if you see, the gap is your profit, total AUM plus profit minus your management fee, or minus your all the expenses, which is 139.92 million. However, your NAV will become 139.92 minus the performance fee which is charged. So NAV will become 139.82 million. And if you see here, after the gap also, if you see, this value is higher than your last year or year 3 high water mark, because it has achieved to that much. So that's why comparing these two, the fund was eligible for performance fee. So generally now the calculation which I have shown here for these two pages and this complicated calculation, in your fund accounting on your daily basis you don't have to do this calculation. There will be either a system which is already in place, which will have the all the parameters set, which will calculate the performance fee for you and which will show you the fund is eligible for the performance fee or not. Either you will have a spreadsheet, the spreadsheet will do all the calculation and it will give you whether the performance fee is charged or not. Now one point which I told you I will be explaining you at the end is the performance fee period, why it is important. There is something called crystallization period is generally the time you are paying the performance fee to the fund. So let's say the crystallization period is 12 months. Your fund's year end is during the December. So 31st December will be the time when you will be paying the performance fee. Let's assume your fund is a monthly fund. So you will be valuing the fund on each every month end, January end, February end, till that you till likewise you will be valuing the fund till December 31st December. So each month end you cannot assume that you won't be calculating the performance fee, right? So as per we always say we will be accruing the expense, whatever expense it is, and then we have to pay it at the time of payment. How it works for performance fee? Let's assume your fund is a monthly valuation fund. So every month end you will be calculating, evaluating your fund and you will be calculating your performance fee. But whatever performance fee you are accruing, not that the total of that you will be paying to your investment manager. So let's say on January end you have calculated, and just take an example that the fund is eligible for $100 of performance fee. You will be calculating it, you will keep it as an accrual, but on the next day you will drop that accrual, and from the February again you will freshly start to calculate the performance fee. And then again, let's say in February the fund is not eligible for performance fee, in March it is not eligible for performance fee, April, somehow the fund was eligible for, let's say, $50 of performance fee. But it doesn't happen that till April you totally accruing $150 of performance fee. No, it doesn't happen like that. You have to keep calculating till I'm not going to go for all 11 months. Let's say in the December end, when you see the fund was not eligible to get any performance fee, then the investment manager will not get any performance fee for December. It is, you are calculating this thing because you are just checking how the fund is uh, going throughout the year. So as I said that the fund might do good or bad during the year, it will be on the period end or the year end you will be seeing how your fund has actually achieved till the year. Otherwise the fund manager might do well in the middle, but throughout the year it will not keep that performance that way. That is the reason this part is little trickier when it comes to fund accounting. Many a time we will be calculating accruing the performance fee, and if it is a monthly fund they don't reverse the accrual on the next day, or if it is a daily fund also, then it will become a daily activity that you have to accrue the performance fee, but you will not realize that performance fee. So it will be an accrued performance fee, again you will take it out and again you will be next day you will be calculating. That's why that concept of GAV and NAV also becomes very important in this case, because you are actually checking that if you would have charged performance fee to your fund, what would have been the NAV for your fund, and then that thing comes into picture actually when it comes to your performance period, which is your crystallization period, depends on the prospectus, and that is when you are actually paying it to the investment manager. This is all about performance fee and the concept of performance fee. Now, there are few things which we need to understand from an investor point of view. So, think about it. I told you on a year one, the fund is doing very good and the fund has done a good thing, and the investment investor who has invested into the fund has paid performance fee. and next year again the fund is doing bad, and third year the fund is doing very good. So the investors who has came into the year 3, how they will be charged compared to the person who is investing from year 1 to year 3. So these are few things which is also we need to take care when we calculate the performance fee. It is not only you will be thinking only from the fund, you have to think from the investor, and you have to think from the time the investor is coming, because performance fee is not a fee which is just for an year. You are checking your past performance as well. So there are few concepts which is called the equalization. There are multiple things we need to keep into account when we are calculating performance fee. In my next video, I will be describing about the equalization concept which pertaining to performance fee. That's all. Thank you very much. If you have any doubt, please leave a comment in your comment section. I will definitely try and answer it, and I will try to clear your doubt. Thank you very much.